Okay, good evening everyone, 7 p.m, so we'll open the meeting now. Thank you all for coming, good to see you all. Item number 1 on the agenda, apologies for absence, to receive and approve apologies for absence. Who have we got, Tracy?
So we've got apologies from Margaret, Peter, Steve, Shear, Tanya, Barvin and Josh.
That's it, okay, thank you. Item number 2, register of interest and dispensation, to receive any declarations of interest or dispensation regarding any items on the agenda. Does anyone have anything they would like to raise at this point? Nope, okay, move on. Item number 3, minutes of previous meeting, to resolve that the minutes of the meetings held on the 28th of June 2023 and the 27th of July 2023 are a true record of the meeting. Does anyone have any points they would like to make? We get a proposer to agree both of those. Anyone? Paul, a seconder? Wayne, all those in favour? Thank you. So, this may take some time. I've got to initial every page as well, haven't Item number 4, public participation, to open the meeting to allow members of the public to make comments. We have no members of the public, unfortunately. Does any members want to ask a question at this point? Eileen?
Well, that's grants, actually. I think I've already sent you an email with grants.
I think we're going to bring that to the policy and finance meeting.
You are?
Yeah, because it's that committee that do the grants, isn't it? So, yeah, we'll bring it to that one. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll bring it up. Yeah. Any others? No? Okay. Item number 5, chair report, to receive the chair report. So I've prepared a few little notes. So I hope you all had a nice summer and enjoyed the rain. It's been a busy summer. So since our last meeting in the end of June, I think it was, I've done a few things. So on the 5th of July, I went to some training that was held by HALC over at EBC House. Really helpful. It was all about chairing meetings, so hopefully you'll see an improvement. It was nice to get some hints and tips, actually. There was about 15 other people on there from various parishes around Hampshire and Berkshire, so it was nice to meet them and hear what sort of things they do and how they run their meetings, and hear how they deal with members of the public, for example, and things like that. So that was really good. It was good to build some connections. On the 11th of July, myself and Tracy met with Will Purvis at EBC, who's their head of comms, I believe, where he discussed with us the borough's plans for Remembrance and for Christmas. They would like us to get involved in both of those. On the 19th of July, I ran a greening catch-up event with Tarina online, so that was to catch people who couldn't make the public event that we held here. A few had said they wanted to come along, but they were unavailable, so I ran an online session with Tarina to get a few more volunteers, which went well. The following week, I ran a next steps meeting with all those that had expressed an interest in the greening, where each pillar of the greening campaign brought along their experts and they discussed what sort of things they can offer. So that was well attended online as well. At the start of August, I met with the clerk at Chandler's Ford Parish Council. I'd been in touch with quite a lot of the surrounding parish councils to find out how they ran their allotments. So the clerk at Chandler's Ford kindly invited me along, so I went along for a meeting with her. She ran through some stuff regarding allotments and we just had a general chit-chat. She was asking about how the council was going, so it's nice to sort of have that relationship there. She said she's quite happy to offer help and support and advice if we need it, so that was good. The rest of August was pretty quiet. I did go away on holiday towards the end of August, and while I was away on the 1st of September, I was invited to the Asian Welfare Culture Association's annual Dinner and Inclusion Awards evening. I couldn't attend, but Alex did go on my behalf, so I'll let him speak in a minute to tell you all about that. You were there as well, Wayne, thank you. Alex was there representing the town council, but he'll have mentioned something about that in a second. And then last weekend on the 9th, I was at Eastleigh Pride with a few people here, which I thought was really good. We've got an agenda item about that, so I won't talk about that now. One other thing I wanted to let you know about is a bit of a personal challenge. You'll remember that at one of the first meetings this year, I selected the Basics Bank as my charity for the year. So I've been trying to think of ways in which I can personally raise some money and ideas for what the council can do. So I've decided to go on a stupid personal challenge. You probably know Eastleigh's twinned with two towns, so let me get the pronunciation right. It's Villeneuve-Saint-Georges in France and Kornwestheim in Germany. So I went on Google and drew a straight line between all three of them. It's 535 miles. So starting on Monday next week, I intend to walk 535 miles, not in one go, between now and Christmas, which is about 5.5 miles a day. I'm going to log it all with my Apple Watch properly. So I will be creating a little web page with so that people can donate. So I will be tapping you all up for some cash to go towards the Basics Bank, and I'd really appreciate it if you can share it amongst your networks and contacts and try and raise a bit of money for the food bank. You all feel free to join me if anyone else wants to take up the challenge. You're more than welcome. We can do it together.
I might do a few odd 5.5 miles, but that's not that.
Yeah, every day. Yeah. That's what my the plan is. So I will be sending you all an email with some sponsorship details there. Moving forward, then, I've got a few things upcoming. Some regarding allotments, which we'll discuss later in that item. And I'm also trying to arrange a time with the bid to go out and shadow one of their town rangers for the afternoon to see what sort of things they do in the town centre. They've invited me along, so I just need to find a date where I'm available. So yeah, that's my update. Any questions or want to ask me anything about that now? Okay, we'll move on. Item number 6, Hampshire County Council and Eastleigh Borough Council update. To receive an update from HCC and EBC councillors on items affecting Eastleigh. Who would like to say something? Go for it, Wayne.
Well, the biggest item affecting us at the moment is this cycleways. It's giving us a lot of problems. We keep hitting issues, we get them solved, and then we get more of them. So it's taken up a lot of my time in the last few weeks to try and sort out those.
Can I ask what the sort of issues you're experiencing are?
Well, moving bus stops and all sorts of things. Obviously the footway and all sorts of, it's a bit of a nightmare. But,
okay.
Hopefully we'll resolve it. We seem to be getting something sorted out, so that's good. That's a bit of a problem. That's basically, you can't think, because we didn't have any meetings at the since the last, over the summer, haven't we?
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else there is to do. The council reviewing care homes in the county. I'm on a working group looking to that, but I don't think it affects any care. I don't think there are any care homes in Eastleigh that are affected. That's a big issue for the county at the moment. They really want to close some care homes. They actually want to do some new care homes as well. So
okay.
Basically what is going on.
Thank you, Kathy. Do you have a question for Wayne?
Yeah, I noticed that the notices when the cycle routes say work will be up to 6 weeks. Do you know? Is that just a sort of in case overruns, or is it going to be like doing more than 6 weeks?
No, just in case it overruns.
Oh, that's what I assume.
Yeah.
So, have you any idea when it's due to finish?
Oh, I think another month.
The reason I ask
It's
is
all
because
been done in stages.
the bus stop which I use and a lot of elderly people on my route use is now run by the Irish Club.
Right.
And it's all very well when it's sunny, but when it's raining, there's no shelter there. And I say quite a lot of elderly people, and they're getting a bit wet. On that note, somebody told me that you can walk through the civic offices, and the gates open if you go like from Sainsbury's towards the bus stop, but you can't get in the gate the other way. I haven't tried it out.
Going underneath through the car park.
Yes.
Well, yeah, the only reason I say that is because there's some cycle sheds there. At least if it was chucking it down in the rain, people might have somewhere to
Roll under.
yeah.
But the cycle sheds are for use for people in Wessex House and Eastleigh House.
I will go and give it a go and see whether the gate is indeed open
I'm not sure because it's outside of my patch. I've been more involved with the cycleway east south.
But that's station one. It's supposed to be 3 weeks. So
Okay, because they're taking all the furniture away there now, and it took me a while to realise that Sainsbury's doors, which had been open for some considerable time on Lee Road, had reopened. That was after I'd walked all the way round and came in back to the car park. But anyway, that's sorted now. All right, okay, thank you.
Okay. Kevin?
On that note, Sainsbury's are on Facebook saying that for one day, the opening on the road.
Was only for one day?
That's what I understand by people's comments.
Oh, I
It's
can't
open,
believe they are
it's
already
open,
there.
and someone fixed it.
That was bad timing.
Yeah, I don't know, that's what I heard. So.
I think
That's right, because it was open today, and I saw the posting the other day about it being open, and I didn't realise it was, but I went there today and it definitely was open today, so I don't think that's quite right.
Paul?
I should pick up a couple of bits from Hampshire County Council. On the bus, the cycleway, the part that in Chestnut Avenue is now completely finished, done and dusted, all sorted, everyone's happy. Well,
I doubt that.
the complaints that I was dealing with, the bus stops, and the general complaints about who authorised this, blah blah blah, have all been, and car parking, have all been resolved. The bus stops are now in sensible places. One that was going to be moved isn't being moved. One's been moved into a more sensible place, and the residents' parking has been protected as much as possible. There's only, I don't know, 3 or 4 spaces that have been lost because the build-outs have mainly been where there were double yellow lines, and that. But that side of the works on the Eastleigh, on the Chestnut Ward or Eastleigh South, if you take the Borough Ward, is now all finished, done and dusted, and complete. There's some signage still to go up, and people got to get used to it. But all the complaints, or all the objections, because I personally objected to Hampshire County Council over it, will remain, rat running, etc., etc. And we'll just see what happens. The bulk of the work now is in the Eastleigh Central Ward, or the Blenheim Ward, as the parish is, which is obviously from the bus station, Lee Road, and then it'll be all the way down Desborough Road. So that'll be down to Wayne, Cameron and Babin, because they're the ward councillors to deal with that. If there's any issues, I've had my fair share of dealing with cycleways, and I don't want any more on that. Question 1, I would ask Tanya if she was here. You said that care homes not run by Hampshire in Eastleigh. Who runs what was John Darling Mole?
It's not a care home, is it? As such.
No,
No.
it's
not.
not.
It's not
Independent. It used to be. It's not.
Usually it's independent.
It's
isn't it?
independent living. Hampshire has no control over that.
I think Hampshire sort of control that, but it's not a care home.
Mm.
That's not.
It doesn't fall into their consultational care homes then. Perhaps just one to watch and keep your eye on, because that is obviously independent living is still for people that are disabled, and that isn't it? And that's but one to potentially keep an eye on. So there is that one in Eastleigh. Not in our parish, I hasten to add, in Boyle Parish, but definitely it is one in Eastleigh that's
No,
run by Hampshire.
we're talking about care homes where people are in care homes and they're receiving care.
Yes.
Receiving care.
Sorry?
Fleming House, that's the care.
Yes, Fleming House. Fleming House was dementia care. Yes. Yeah.
Well, it could be one to be looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fleming House. Yeah.
Actually, you're going to go and visit it at some stage in the next 2 or 3 months.
Where's
anyway.
Fleming House?
So,
It's Birding.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not just dementia, because a friend of mine who had COVID
Is it not?
died in there. He didn't have, he had cancer, but he died. Sorry, it was during COVID. He had cancer and he went in there.
Oh, right, okay.
That was a couple of years ago, and this was
You
changed.
have very little contact with Fleming House. It's a very much a sealed unit. You leave it well alone and let them get on with
That
it.
was sort of terminal care, palliative
Yeah,
care.
but
Maybe
you
that's-
generally only go
Maybe
in.
that's different. That's more of a hospice than a...
Yeah, you go in,
Yeah.
but you're assisted out.
Yeah.
In a box. Yeah, this is sad. Anyway, so, sorry, coming back to the agenda item, Chair. So, Hampshire County Council, there's one other thing that would be of interest to the parish, and that is the fact they are now advertising their consultation to reply to and feed into their budget cycle. The budget cycles now start for councils, local councils. Hampshire County Council has been on Twitter, Facebook and in various other places with Rob Hunley saying please let us know. Headline figure there is that the Hampshire County Council are having to reduce their budget further by 134 million. I would suggest that actually as a council that we, as a town council, that we get hold of that consultation and we respond as a town council on that.
Do you know when it closes?
I was just going to say, I don't know what the deadline is. Probably not a huge amount of time running the county, and there'll be some questions that are difficult not to answer favourably for them, but there are areas that you can actually comment, and that's where you can sort of, the town council can actually put their comments as to what they really think. There'd be a weighty chunk it'd be a weighted document because they give a load of spiel before you actually get to questions for them to justify their things.
I'm just wondering how we could go about responding. Would it have to be at a full council? Because our next one isn't until November.
When's the consultation end then? Is
I
it?
don't know because it's only just started being advertised. Alex has got it up here.
no, so I'm a bit confused because I knew that they had a consultation recently, and so I was just looking it up, and that one closed on the 23rd of July.
Do you do Twitter? I'll see if I can find something.
Yeah, but it's just interesting because we've already missed one consultation on
I'll see if I can find
council
that address and let you know.
If you can find out and let us know, and then if we have to call another meeting, or if we could send it to a committee
Probably
that might be
find out
meeting,
for you
or
by the end of the meeting.
well, yeah.
Kathy?
Kathy?
Mr. Humby, so I'll have another word with him.
Kathy, you,
I just noticed they've got a consultation for care service proposals, and that doesn't end till 12th of November.
That's right, yeah.
okay.
That again, as a town council, we could respond to.
Yeah.
As a town council.
Okay.
I can't see anything about budget.
I'll have a look and see.
We'll take that away and have a look at
Well,
that.
we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alex had a question as well.
Yeah, another question, hopefully county colleagues can take away. I was looking on Hampshire County Council's website about their 20-mile-an-hour proposals, which were recommended to full council back in January, I think. And from as far as I could tell, they were adopted, but then I can't see anything that's followed up since then. So I would appreciate an update at some point.
We've got the
if we
meeting
can
on
get it.
Monday.
Okay.
It was supposed to come to the meeting on Monday, it's been withdrawn, so we're trying to find out why it's been
Right, okay.
So tomorrow we know. Once I know what's been withdrawn, we'll let you know.
Thank you very much.
Eastleigh Council
Yeah,
now.
go for it, yeah.
Again, because it's been a summer, not a huge amount has been going on with the council, which is wonderful because my inbox is, it's a relative term that it's empty. It's not, but I mean, compared to what it normally is, so that's really good. A couple of things of note that are actually in the parish, and that was on the 24th of August, the official opening of Free Space up behind the BMW garage.
I think it's just outside the parish,
Oh no,
actually.
sorry, it's outside.
It's right on the border.
Yeah, it falls in
It's still of
Chinese
interest to residents.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Right, it will still affect members of the parish.
Yeah.
If you get the opportunity to go up and have a look, I well recommend it. If you decide that you're going to have a go, get some photos and bring and show us. I did have a sneak preview before it opened.
So I can bring my skateboard.
You can take your skateboard, you can take your scooter, you can take your BMX.
Yes.
And that. So they had a skate jam on the day, which was well attended because Cameron was there when it was actually open. And it's been completely revamped. It's bigger and better than it was after the vandalism. It has taken a while, but we did have COVID in the middle there as well. And some good news out of that. I mean, yes, we replaced the sort of hard tarmac middle area with lots more ramps and that were there, they're different design and such like. But the good news is that when we dug out the bowl, it turned out that the bowl was usable, even though it had 40 tons of earth thrown in it. And that's where the dump truck. No, it's one of the ramps ended up in there. It turned out that there were some death cracks in it. Basically, cracks mean that it can't be repaired. So it's been stitched, and it can be looked after for a few years, because to replace it, you're in excess of £100,000 for that concrete bowl. So even though there's some death cracks that were identified, the team that were working up there have stitched it, basically used concrete glue, smoothed it off, and it's been painted blue apparently, so it looked like a swimming pool. Unfortunately, it wasn't open when we were up there because of the bad weather. They haven't been able to sort of sand things off properly, and they're using paints and glues that need curing time. But hopefully it's been done now. But anyway, the bowl will also be back in use as well as part of the Free Space.
Can I ask a question about it?
I saw
Sorry, Kathy, go for it.
Your chair.
Where is it? Sorry, Lee Road.
Right, no, it's Stonecroft Rise, up by the BMW garage, household waste recycling.
Near Asda.
Oh, sorry, all right, okay.
Yeah.
How about it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, up by the tip. Just keep going. It's got enhanced security, fencing to prevent illegal encampments.
You've answered my question.
Right, okay, yeah.
It was that, and what are there any mitigations to try and prevent vandalism again? Obviously, you can never stop it, but
CCTV is going in.
right, okay.
And that. So yeah, so it's really good. It's really good.
Excellent.
It's better than it was. bus station toilets were the bus station was mentioned. Whilst Lee Road is being worked upon and the bus station is closed, then the Eastleigh Area Committee have taken the opportunity to do a deep clean of the bus station, and the seating is being replaced.
And weeding.
Sorry?
And weeding.
Yeah. It's going to have a good
It's
deep.
looking really tattered.
It's going to have a real good deep clean, new seating and what have you. Hence why there's no seats at the moment. But obviously it's a bit inconvenient for people that want to have a seat or need to have a seat, and that. So I think it's about it at the moment, isn't it, for the areas that affect the town council?
So it's not very much to
No,
report.
it's been quite quiet. Obviously Pride, but that's coming up later.
There's plans to enhance the BMX dirt bike track kind of thing.
There's some
as well.
there's been some interest shown by a volunteer group that may enable some work to be done on the BMX side of things, but that's still in the early days. Yeah.
Okay.
But other than that, I can't think of anything.
Any questions for anyone? No? Okay, thank you. We'll move on. Where are we? Item number 7, recommendation from the Policy and Finance Committee to consider the following recommendations for the Policy and Finance Committee to receive and agree to adopt a Treasury Management and Investment Strategy for 23-24. Alex, can you just explain to everyone what this is?
Yes, I need to try and remember what it was all about now. So, essentially, so that we can actually make investments and look after our money and protect the investment that we've collected from taxpayers so that it maintains its buying power, we need to have in place an investment strategy. This is dictated by statutory guidance that's issued by the Secretary of State for Communities and Levelling Up and whatever else they're called. Can't remember the name. And so following all of that, there's certain things we have to put in place for a strategy. So I put together, it's actually in 2 pieces. So we've got the policy, which has actually been adopted by Policy and Finance already because they have the power to do that. However, as the policy states, full council must adopt the strategy for each financial year, which actually sets out where we can put our money and what our investments are for the year and how that will be administered going forward. So the policy itself is a little bit dry. It's the basics of definitions of what we can and can't do, and sets out defines what an investment means, what is a specified investment, things like loans and how we'll be managing the treasury, sets out the credit ratings that we use for deciding what is a safe investment, and then requires that we have a strategy and says what the strategy must include. So that's the policy, which is already adopted. And then the strategy itself then sets out what are our objectives for investing for a given year, where will we invest, and how will that be managed. And so what this strategy sets out for this financial year, so this is only going to go up until April of next year, before we then have to adopt a new one. What I say then really ought to be the meeting prior, because it needs to be done before the financial year starts. And so it essentially sets out that, so first of all, because our budget for the year is above, believe it or not, €500,000, one thing to note is that we are not eligible for the FSCS protection, deposit protection. So that's something to bear in mind, that we probably want to be distributing where we invest our money across different providers, on the outside chance that the provider might fail. But the key thing it sets out is where we will be investing. So obviously we already have our current account, the Unity Trust Bank, and the proposal here is that we'd only ever have a maximum of effectively 3 months budget within the current account, because we also have the savings account which is attached to it that then accrues interest. So our kind of ready money that we will need to transfer across in order to pay bills will be in that savings account, accruing some interest. And then the other part of this is the CCLA Public Sector Deposit Fund, where we can deposit a certain amount of money for a longer term. With that particular deposit fund, as long as we get instructions, I think it's by 11 a.m. on a particular day, the money will be made available on the same day. So it's still quite quick for that money to come back. It's not like we have to serve notice or anything. There is a minimum amount that we have to invest in order to open the account, which I think is £25,000. It's
I can't remember.
I can't see the note.
Sounds right.
I'm sure I put a note somewhere. Anyway, yeah.
We'll just say
But then once
It's
it's
a pound.
open, we can withdraw money. So
I see.
the minimum value is effectively £1,
Oh, okay.
but we can't open it with £1, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But as long as we keep £1 in it, then it will stay open. So
25,000.
Yeah. So,
thank you. Yeah. So that's essentially the proposal. So if I will put forward the proposal that we adopt this strategy. Having done that, that means that Tracy can then actually go ahead and open that CCLA fund, because we've been holding off on that so far, although Policy and Finance had already recommended that we wanted to do that. So it's just so everybody knows.
Anyone to second that? Any questions, comments? Happy to vote. All those in favour of adopting the strategy? Wayne, are you? Yeah? Okay, thank you. Item number 8. Greening campaign to receive an update from the working party. So I've provided an update for you all. So since the last meeting, it's been very busy trying to organise volunteers. So we've now got a group together, and I've collated all their information and sent that off to Tarina at the Greening campaign. So we're waiting for at the moment for the Greening campaign to send us an information pack for each pillar, which I'm expecting this week. As soon as we have that, the pack will then go out to the relevant volunteers within each pillar, and then the pillar experts from the Greening campaign will contact their group of volunteers to arrange a first meeting where they will then get together and work out their next steps, basically what they want to do, what they want to arrange, and come up with a timetable of events and when we're going to hold the launch event. I am at the point of running this next Sustainability Hub Big Ideas event on the 30th. I'm actually there as part of the North Stoneham community group for our community fridge, showing that off, but I will also be talking to people about the Greening campaign to see if I can pick up a few more volunteers while we're there. I've been meeting over the last few weeks with Wild Hive, who I'm sure you're all probably aware of, or might not be, but they're a local CIC who have been doing a lot of greening things already, and they're really, really impressive. They've been doing some great work, and once I'd met with them, I was keen to work together with them, because we don't want to, butt heads or anything like that. I don't want us to come in and steamroll at them. It's important that we work together. They're keen to get on board with the Greening campaign as well. They've signed up to a couple of our pillars. The Point is also very, very keen to get involved, and that's probably going to be the location for our launch event. It'll be within the Point and Lee Road Rec and that sort of area. So things are getting there. We're just waiting at the minute on these information packs, and that's the Greening campaign. They'll be the ones to send them to us. So as soon as we've got those, they will then get in contact with the pillars, and off we go, hopefully. Any questions? Eileen?
On 28th of June, I think you said about the lottery funding, that we were getting some lottery funding.
It's all through the Greening. So it pays for all their experts basically to come in and do it. So we don't actually get the money. The money pays for the experts and all that. And it pays for things like if they do some growing events, seed packs and things. It pays for equipment and the people, the experts to come in. It pays for their time basically. But we do have some. The borough have set aside £4,700 for our Greening campaign that we can use. So that is what will pay for getting the printing of the cards done and things like that. So we do have that money available, and we just got to contact the borough when we want it and we'll get the money. So that has been set aside for our campaign. I think it's 4,700, isn't it? It was just under 5. I think that's what it is off the top of my head. Any other questions about Greening? Tina?
It's not a question, it's more of a comment,
Yeah.
I guess. I'm not quite sure who was on the call. Wayne, I think you were, I don't know if anyone else in the room was on that sort of call. I'm hugely supportive of the Greening campaign, so let me say that first. I think I was a little bit underwhelmed, to be honest, by the, what do they call them?
The pillars.
No, not the pillars, not targets, but the things that will go on the card.
Oh yes, yes, yeah.
And I kind of thought, and I appreciate that this is something that I feel quite strongly about, and therefore I may be further along the path than other people. But bearing in mind, and what we've put on our website about the greening campaign, you know, the opening bit of blurb is really strong, which is great, and fully endorse that. And then kind of when we sort of say what we're asking people to sign up to, I kind of think I'm slightly disappointed that we haven't gone for more meaningful actions. And I just wondered, is there any, I mean it might be too late and that's absolutely fine, I can just see if we roll this out as a big campaign, bearing in mind, you know, this is one of the biggest things that the council we would have done. Some of the things are really, bearing in mind the state of the world, some of the things are really, really low level. And I just think, is there any opportunity that just before we go to print, unless we have already,
No, we haven't.
that we just, you know, having had some time to consider them, to sort of think, is that what we want to do, or with the benefit of having a bit of time and reflection, do we want to maybe see if we'd like to suggest something that would be a bit more meaningful and would say, no, actually we're putting our money where our mouth is.
That we can change it up until the print. So Tarina says the idea is that the cards will go out probably 2 to 3 weeks before the launch event. So the launch event isn't going to be till probably March, April time. So we've got all that time between now and then. And it might be that when each pillar gets together and has their conversations, they decide, actually, do you know what, let's go bigger. So quite open to change. We don't, you know, although we've agreed the things that will go on the card, it doesn't mean those are what have to stay on there. And that's something that we can chat with the greening campaign and Tarina and say, look, we'd like to go a bit. More than happy to have that conversation. We can make any changes.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
if others feel the same, I'd like
Alex?
us to do that.
I don't disagree. I think you're right, because it does seem like an opportunity to do a bigger thing. The only thing I would say is it's worth bearing in mind that we're not the first community to do the greening campaign. It's been developed over some time, so we've got a lot of experience with running these campaigns. I think the idea behind those challenges was to keep the bar deliberately low, because the idea is that you try to get as many residents to actually sign up to that challenge as possible. It's supposed to seem like a relatively easy thing to do, to demonstrate how straightforward it can be to make those small changes. Also, there are things which are relatively easy to measure. So one of the things that the greening campaign really benefits from is once everyone has completed their challenges, they can put the cards up in the window, you can go around and do a really quick survey, and then you can get some really quick, rough numbers. Actually, as a community, we've saved X number of tonnes of CO2. That's going to be harder if we start making up our own challenges, because we won't have the data to back it up to measure the impact of it. Also, that's why there's the pillars and the experts, because that's the second bit. So the easy challenges is try and get people on board. Okay, now you've done that one, now the real challenge starts. Come and talk to our experts, come and talk to us about insulating your home, come and talk to us about rewilding different bits of the local community. It's setting that challenge so it's progressive and people can come along with us.
Yeah.
So I think it's just worth bearing it in mind. I'm not saying that we can't change them or we shouldn't change them. I think it's worth listening to the experts and experience that Tarina has to share with us on that as well.
Yeah, no, I certainly understand exactly where they're coming from. I just think there has to be a challenge. You want to make it interesting and capture the imagination. So I can't remember what one of them was, but you know, like something about, you know, checking my fridge is set at the right temperature. Well, for that same one, you could have had, I don't know, we could have done something like a meat-free Monday. You know, you get people to sign up to having a meat-free Monday. just as an example. And if you actually got, you would never, but if you did get the whole of Eastleigh to sign up to have a 1 day a week where they have no need, I mean, that would actually have a far bigger impact.
Yeah.
Because I think the vast majority of people, if they're interested, probably, your fridge is already set, and for everyone else, they probably, it wouldn't spur them to action or anything, it wouldn't be meaningful. So I absolutely get the methodology and I completely support it. So I'm not saying let's all sign up to never flying again or anything like that, but something where it makes it fun and interesting, but actually it's got some meaning behind it as well, and it shows that
I like that one, by the way. I do like that.
That's a really good
That is a good suggestion.
about it.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's certainly something we can talk to Tarina, and we've got plenty of time. Like I said, it doesn't need to be finalised till they go to print, which is going to be a long way off yet. So absolutely.
As a group, can we agree that we'll at least have that conversation, even if ultimately we stick with what we've got? I would just like us to revisit
course we can,
it, see if we do something slightly more.
Absolutely. I see no reason why we can't. Okay. Anything else on greening? No? Okay, move on. Item number 9, youth provision. To receive an update from Councillor O'Neill regarding youth provision within the town. Kathy, do you have anything?
Yeah, I had a few bits in no particular order. I had a copy of the monthly newsletter from Donna Jones, who's the PCC, the Police and Crime Commissioner, perhaps in the Isle of Wight. And she had a quite big article on tackling youth violence, and they've got an initiative going with an arts work drama programme via schools, and they're asking schools to sign up. I did copy of Marcia and Tracy suggesting that they sign up to get, it's a monthly newsletter, so I get that monthly. I've heard from Marcia, but I didn't hear from you. I know I've had problems with emails, but I didn't hear anything from you.
From who, sorry?
From me about with the newsletter. I sent it to you and Tracy, so it went to both of you at the same time. Did you not get it?
I only sent that today. Yeah, I did get that.
Oh, so we've signed up for it?
About the Crime Commissioner.
Yeah. Okay. Was it circulated around? I have to ask these questions because I usually know I don't get all my emails. Was the newsletter circulated around to the full council?
I haven't seen
No,
that.
not yet, no, because you only suggested that I sign up to it. You just sent it to me this afternoon, today I think I got it, and said you couldn't sign up.
Whatever. Well, sign up to get the newsletter, but I mean, you could circulate the one that we've already got, is what I was saying.
Yeah, I will do.
Okay, all right. No, it's because I don't get emails, and I have to sort of double check things. Right, that's that. There's some martial arts sessions at the Energy Youth Centre for September and October. I did circulate that to all the parish clerks. I didn't see that coming round on ours either, but that may be, as I say, I keep repeating myself, I know, because I didn't see it. Did anybody else see it?
I've had that from Tracy because I've got to put it on the website. I'm going to put something on the website about that. It's on my to-do list this week.
I've been concerned, and Alice has done, about antisocial behaviour in music, particularly because that seems to affect youths in the group. And Eileen and I at the PC Pride managed to collar a PCSO.
PCSO, yeah.
And I was horrified that there's only one for Eastleigh Town Centre. 2 years ago there were 7. Anyway, we got his email address, but since then, I now have a contact with Andrew Chivers. Anybody know him? Eastleigh Town Council.
Yeah, name rings a bell.
He's the Community Safety Officer. And particularly for ASBOs. Anyway, I've emailed him and asked him if I can join in with whatever groups or whatever else. So, and lastly, the schools. Obviously, we've had August off. It's my intention before the next meeting to contact them all and go around the season. Do we know if any of them are affected by this aerated concrete stuff?
No.
They know or we don't know?
No, none have been disclosed yet. There's
Basing Stoke, there's one.
yeah, and one in Tottenham.
Nothing in Eastleigh.
But no, that's the whole of Hampshire
Okay, well that's good news.
at the moment. That's what's been made public that we know of.
Although I was at governance meeting today and they were talking about that issue, and they were extremely sceptical that was the case.
I'm sure.
Surprised me
I
there.
was going to say, I'm not surprised on that at all, unless they have a survey done, but proper surveyor
Yeah.
and drill holes and stuff, we're not going to know.
That's a bit of a dim question. How would schools know?
By drilling holes.
So
Unless
yeah,
there's somebody who
schools
know,
will know.
unless there's somebody who actually knows when it was constructed and how it was constructed. The only other way is to actually do, surveys where you basically drill boreholes.
I'm guessing that's Hampshire County Council, rather than Eastleigh Borough.
Yeah,
Not-
yeah.
Not us, I
You
know.
take
Hampshire,
the-
Southampton,
You take the
Portsmouth.
ceilings down. If you look at when you had a musical, they've taken the suspend the ceiling down and look up into the, and you can actually see the concrete in there.
Okay. That was just, I just wondered about that. And that's all I've got at the moment, thank you. Any questions?
Not really a question, but just to check you're aware, one of the emails from now that was sent around had various different events and training opportunities, and there's one coming up in October called Empowering Young Voices in Your Community, which I thought you might be interested in, or other councils might be interested in. From NALC, NALC.
Oh, NALC.
I think there might be a cost for it because it says about buying tickets, but I imagine that we
Sometimes
could
they're
cover
free,
that.
anyway.
Yeah, but that looked like quite an interesting one from a youth division perspective.
Cameron?
I was just going to mention that Policy Informal Scrutiny Panel in EBC had Andrew Chivers and the superintendent, or whatever his job title is, the head of police in Eastleigh Borough, in for our scrutiny panel last week.
All right.
Really, really interesting on that exact topic of antisocial behaviour, youth issues and all that kind of stuff, and what the Youth Safe Partnership is doing. I think we have discussed that with the police here at some point before.
Yeah, I've tried to contact them, but never got anywhere. But as Kathy's now got a contact, I'm hoping you might be
Have
able
you got
to.
the email address of the police inspector for Eastleigh?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And you want
Oh, probably not. No.
What's his
There's a
name?
new, what was he?
What organisation's that?
Police.
I'll be down.
He got his job about a month ago.
The one I spoke to, he's fairly new and he's all keen and raring to go. And,
But
which was good.
Andrew would be a good person to contact because it's.
yeah, I have
it's
emailed
that
him,
job.
so I'll let you know.
Can you contact him and maybe invite him along to our next
Yeah, of
meeting,
course.
possibly Kathy, and we,
Yeah.
or even to something else. I mean, we could do something else, or it doesn't have to be a proper meeting. But as you've got that contact already, I think it'd be nice mainly for him to introduce himself and tell us what they're doing.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, I'll do that.
Thank you. Anything else? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 10, Events Committee. To receive an update on future events and feedback from Pride, and to consider a request to participate in the Hampshire D-Day 80th anniversary on the 6th of June 2024. So in terms of Pride, Alex, do you mind just giving a brief
Yeah,
rundown
sure.
of how it went?
So first of all, thank you to everybody that was there on the day. We had people dropping in and out all the time, which was really good. We had a couple of different activities to try and draw people to the stall. So we had a map, which I should actually be able to display on the screen, hopefully.
Alex spent ages taping it together.
It's not an interactive one, I'm afraid. This is just a photo of a paper map that I put together on the day. So basically, just to share first of all with people what the area of the town council is and the different wards, but then also to actually try and get something meaningful out of it. We were using this as an opportunity to say to people, we've got the Remove the Barriers campaign. Do you know of anywhere that there are barriers in the pavement that you'd like to see addressed? So we've got people to put stickers on for that. And the other one, which is later on the agenda, is around the speed indicator displays. So again, it was speeding hotspots in the town centre that people might want to nominate. So we had, that was one thing. We had Eileen's yarn bomb things that we were giving out.
Yes.
They were very colourful.
Yeah, we had some colouring in. I made an outline version of our Pride logo, people could colour in. And we had the Name the Teddy Bear competition, which we had quite a lot of entries.
There's about 150 entries.
Okay, so that's quite a good measure actually of how many people we managed to engage with. Talking to people on the day, there were quite a few people who came from out of town. So I mean, it's good in some ways. Basically, Eastleigh's being promoted as a destination people want to come and visit, particularly for an event like Pride. But obviously that meant they weren't quite so interested in what we were doing as a town council. Although I did have an interesting conversation with somebody who come from Christchurch who had very strong views about town councils. But those people that were local residents, I think were quite pleased to actually see us out and to find out more about what the town council is actually doing and why we exist and what we're offering, and also trying to understand the difference between Eastleigh Town Council, Eastleigh Borough Council.
Hampshire County Council.
Yeah.
A photo of you and Alex in the stand. Have you got that
I
photo?
don't know I have one to hand, but it was really good. We engaged lots of people. It was a fantastic day. The weather was incredible.
Incredibly hot.
It was too hot. Yeah, it was too hot. But on the plus side, I think that actually meant we had a lot of people out. Yeah, it was a good event. I think it was well worth our time. I think it was well worth the money as well, because we've it's £3,000 in total. I think we've now sponsored EC Pride to support the event happening.
How much did we sponsor?
£3,000. So it was initially 2,000, and then they've asked for the additional 1,000, which we agreed at Policy and Finance. But you know, it's an event that is a significant promotion of the town. Like I said, lots of people came from out of town, so I think it was worth it.
Brilliant. Kathy?
Just a small point. We were lucky in the sense that there were lots of stalls there, and I was on 4 different stalls. I'm not going to that. 3 of them were all right at the entrance to we're in, so there was a lot of footfall. Whereas some of the other ones were tucked away because it was so hot. I think people didn't even venture over there. The Lib Dem stand seemed a little quiet at times, I noticed, but that was the sort of furthest one away. So,
Probably in the shade.
It was, I think.
It was a bandstand, but no, so I think that was really good that we had a really good spot.
Yeah, we had Prime Spot right next to WI, so there were cakes trying to
yes,
as well.
But we were in front of a bin, which did smell. But
It's too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, good event.
I didn't know it's actually, that's the notice board, isn't it? That we're got a key for? Have we actually got the key for it?
that's the one that the bid have said we can put. I don't think we were getting a key, were we? But the bid said we could use it.
I think, wasn't the arrangement we can drop things into the bid office and they'll put them up for us?
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of other events then, future events, so we've got Remembrance coming up, but there's a separate item for that, but we've also been asked to have a stall at Christmas, haven't we? They'd like us to have something at Christmas. So I'd like to propose we pass that on to the events working group to look into, now we have one, to have a think about Christmas and what we want to do.
I also circulated to them about, can't remember the name of the company, but they wanted us to do that pumpkin.
Oh yes.
Christmas one.
It's there's a pumpkin festival, isn't there, as well? Yeah. So, yeah.
Bid organising that.
Yes, it's the bid. Yeah. So there's potentially another event there, but
Does the council want to do that or not?
do we want to go to the pumpkin event? I think we certainly should be at Christmas.
Yeah.
Is it the Christmas market on the 2nd of December? Or is that a different day? Is the Christmas lights?
It's the switch on, isn't
The
it?
bid have got a Christmas one, haven't they? On there?
There's 2, isn't there? There's the light switch on the 18th, and then there's the bid Christmas market as a separate event.
We need to be at the Christmas lights switch on during the day.
The November one, yeah.
The November one. That's the one that gets the big footfall.
Yeah.
You don't get any footfall once it's dark. And after, the people moving around and going.
But I think we should certainly be at the switch on.
Yeah.
Do we want to do the Christmas market out or the pumpkin one? What do we think? What's everyone's thoughts?
So this is the down Dream and
Yes.
the market.
Yes.
Promoting these two.
Yeah, that's been run through the bid. I think the bid have employed this to come in and this company to come in. It's a lot of work, and I don't want us to commit to doing all 3 if we're not going to be able to do it. I think the Christmas switch on is the main one, Paul.
Yeah, I don't know what the footfall is for pumpkin one. I don't know what the times are. I'm guessing it's probably after it's dark.
I'm not sure.
Anyone
I
got
can't
details?
remember.
Anyone know the details?
I can't remember.
Carving pumpkins is not really my thing.
Because the pumpkin one was used to be done at Neckley, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think this is the first time they've done this, isn't it? I think
It's
it's
not
a
really
new.
my thing, but I would guess possibly if you're going to be carving pumpkins, it's a Halloween wintry thing, it'd be in the dark, because then you can stick a candle and it lights up and everyone goes, ooh. Sorry?
Daytime.
Is it that?
It was all during the daytime. It was very, very well supported too.
But that was the Jubilee Sailing Trust, that's not the same people at all.
No.
My suggestion would be to go for the one that we all know has the footfall, which is the Christmas light switch on.
What day is that, please, Paul?
So
What day is that?
I've got no idea.
18th of November.
18th of November.
I haven't booked into next week, Eileen, yet, let alone next month or the month after. That's the one I would suggest, because we know that we get thousands. Where we would get our stall is debatable, but of course I'm sure that if we were to, because I suspect the bidder organising it, I wouldn't say be a sponsor, or put some money towards it, then we can have pick of stalls where we think the greatest footfall would be, and that's probably up near the sort of Kentucky end, I would have thought, because there's nothing on the rec for that, and it's clear up by 4 o'clock. Ready for the fireworks at 6. So that's the one I would suggest, because we know we've got that guaranteed footfall. I know nothing about the pumpkin, so I will bounce to other people that may have some experience about the pumpkin festival. I don't.
No, it's not
Yeah.
really saying just now.
So yeah, the pumpkin one is on the 28th. It doesn't have the times, and the Christmas market one is the 2nd of December. It's the same company that put on the end of summer festival. That was on. It was the day I got back from holiday, right at the beginning of September, just before the kids went back to school. It's that one in town. It's the same company. Kathy.
Yeah, I agree. I think certainly we should do the switch on.
Yeah.
The Christmas market is only 2 weeks later. I think that's maybe a bit too much.
Yeah.
And there won't be the interest if people have already seen our stall
Yeah.
2 weeks before. They're not going to bother stopping going. And I think the pumpkin is probably too much of an unknown.
Yeah.
It's going to be Halloweeny sort of.
I don't know. I've got no experience.
I would suggest that we just stick with the light switch on.
We all know that one. We feel comfortable.
Oh yeah, we've all been to it and
Exactly.
the
Been to it, help organise it, participate in it.
yeah,
It's 10
Go
to
on.
4 for the pumpkin one.
10 to 4. Right, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all in agreement then for the Christmas light switch on, that we'll have a stall, and we'll give that to the events working group to start looking at. Everyone happy? Anyone against that? No? Okay. The second one then is to consider a request to participate in Hampshire D-Day 80th anniversary in June 2024. Did everybody see that email that went round? I can read it out quickly if you want. So this came from the pageant master for UK Town and Parish Councils, apparently. So they're organising a D-Day 80th on the 6th of June 2024 throughout the UK, Channel Islands, Isle of Man, Overseas Territories and British Normandy Memorial, in celebration and commemoration of this important occasion. So they would like to encourage town and parish council to take part in this event, and they are trying to achieve the lighting of at least 80 beacons per county within England and Wales. So they would like us to get involved, and it's on the 6th of June 2024. The beacons will be lit at 9:15 p.m. So they're looking for 80 town or parish councils within Hampshire to take part in this. Paul?
When you finished.
Oh, but that's the overview of it.
Now you've read it and refreshed, the beacon doesn't sound as if it's going to be too onerous with work. So on that side of things, it's we have a beacon, we advertise it, we light it, perhaps ask people to bring candles as well or something, and it doesn't sound as if it's going to be too difficult to arrange and do. However, we've got to find somewhere where we can have a beacon.
Many hills.
Not in Eastleigh.
Did you say we have a beacon?
No, we have to find somewhere to have a
No,
beacon.
we have a.
Have you got a
No,
church with
no.
a tower?
No,
We don't
the
have a
town,
church with a
we've
tower.
never lit a
So
beacon.
That's
we
what
need
we
to
lit
source
on
it and then decide where to put it.
so.
Or decide where to put it before we decide.
We need to- Sorry?
Can we just put it on?
No, because I think the beacons, they want them in a
case.
sort of basket,
Yeah,
don't they?
yeah. Albrook Parish Council has one because they've used it for various things. Do you like to find out just where they got it from?
Well, I think the question is where could we have one in the town?
Top of Sainsbury's car park.
Can we just leave it there?
We'd need to get permission,
We don't
wouldn't we?
own the land.
Yeah,
Don't forget, we don't
yeah.
own any land, so we need to find out.
I've known other councils work in partnership with a church. We've got a church that's got a tower bit.
Anyone's got company?
I'm sure we could find some way to do it. Or,
If you
or
want
ask them to
members of
receive the
If
permission.
you want members of the public to come along, then obviously you need some land,
Yeah, open space.
some public space, if you're going to advertise it. And then obviously you've got to have a beacon. We don't own any land, so we'd have to get permission from Eastleigh Town Council. We'd have to do a risk assessment, safety case, because you've got fire in
Do
public.
that anyway.
You can't just do it. You
Would have to do that anyway.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said just do it anyway. And that. I mean, there is plenty of space and that, because I mean, there is.
What about Lakeside? That's what I was going to say.
Lakeside, probably not the place because of the ecology, the bats
You need it
and
higher
stuff.
up then. You usually deal with it.
But
Flat.
but you've got you have got Fleming Park. You've got football pitches.
Mm.
You've got,
Yeah.
you see, and it's not, but it wouldn't be something that we would be able to leave unattended. So when the event's finished, we'd have to make sure it's put
Yeah.
out.
I don't
Yeah, we're
think
not
that's-
gonna be-
It's not the expectation, is it?
I don't know if that is the expectation. Then somebody would have to stay all night with it until it burns out.
It's not, but I don't know if they've sent it, because
There is a website, yeah.
Slight interest, because I'm secretary of the Royal British Legion in Eastleigh, and we keep getting parish councils contacting us to say, we want to do an event, and will you be part of it, and what have you. So I know that the mayor of Eastleigh is going to Hamble, because they're doing a big sort of water fleet, sort of boats, and it'll be a lovely event, I'm sure. Chelmsford are doing something, or hoping to do something. So, and there is somewhere, I'm sure I read it in the blur.
There's a
something
pack or
connected to
something
it.
with
So
it's
they're
on their
quite
website.
specific timings, so
Yeah.
they want you to do this, this and this, and then at 9:15 they all get lit, and then there's one at Portsmouth, or something, which is supposed to be the big one,
Yeah.
and then in France they're obviously on all Juno and Gold and all of those, they're doing stuff as well, so I think it'd be a nice thing
Yeah.
for us to do.
I think it's also doable. Without too much effort. It depends. It's got to be left burning, and where we can have it. We haven't got a cliff top. We haven't got a river's edge. We haven't got a castle. All these lovely pictures that you've seen with beacons for whatever event in the past and what have you. We haven't got a small hill or a knoll or something in the middle of a.
Albrook, no.
We haven't got a Glastonbury tour, for instance, or something like that. Eastleigh Town is flat. We're in the river valley.
But like you said, Fleming Park, you could be up on top of the hill there.
Yeah, but it could be, whether or not it's because there's a lot of trees around it. But anyway, I think it's doable.
I was just going to suggest if this is something we're interested in, then we just delegate it to the events committee and they can work out the details. Yeah.
Delegate it to the events committee and they can work out the details.
Yeah.
Sensible.
Everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
And
Excellent.
the events committee could ask for people for ideas for locations, then, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to participate, we'll take it to events.
Yeah, events committee are going to look into it. Okay, item number 11, remove the barriers. To receive an update on the Remove the Barriers campaign. Have you got anything to tell us, Eileen?
Yes.
Excellent.
I've contacted Dave Bagnall and Kelly Edward, and basically on that website now there's a link there to Remove the Barriers, it's called, and residents can go on that and basically hopefully upload photographs of where they want the barrier removed, and at the moment there's only one, and I need to. I don't know whether we've got some.
We did get some.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to go out and picture
We just
them.
need to upload them and do some pictures.
Yeah.
I need to go around and have a look because it was a wheelchair user, and they're saying there's a bit of a pinch of a crossing between stranding and cable leading into Graham Park there, which is finding it difficult. So I need to go around there and actually take a photograph of her, and actually laid it. I'm seeing Dave on Monday, and then he's going to help me with regards to what the next steps are.
Okay.
I asked, basically, if you go around, I've noticed in Kipling Road, they've got one of those Z barriers going through. Dave actually mentioned one in town, under the underpass there, even from Sainsbury's going under the underpass. Again, it's a zigzag barriers that's there. So that's one of the things that we can promote, and hopefully, did we get an awful lot of response? Last one, Pride? I know there was one or two.
Yeah, so I put a couple on.
Yeah.
I was trying to get things started.
Yeah.
And then I think we had one other suggestion, which is the footpath from Toynbee Road through to Lee Road.
Oh.
Apparently there's,
We did have quite a few disabled people who came up to the stand, and we did ask them, have you got any? And they were like, no, we can't think of any. So, but to be fair, a few of them were not from Eastleigh either as well. So,
but the two suggestions I have, one isn't necessarily removing the barrier, but there's the footpath that links from Stoneham Way into Lakeside, that goes over Monk's Brook, has huge concrete pillars in the middle, which is obviously to stop cars from going over where they're quite small. But sometimes if I'm walking back that way at night from the train station, they are completely invisible in the dark. They don't have any reflective strips on them or anything. And if you walk into them, they're going to hurt because they hit your shins. So something, I think, needs to be done with those. And the other one that occurred to me is Avenue Park, the old parkland, the old parkland at the top of North Stoneham. All of the access points into that park are kissing gates, which means that if there are people who can't navigate a kissing gate, or people with prams or anything like that, you can't actually get in and out of that park.
Yeah.
there used to be a disabled gate, but I don't know if it's there anymore. There was a disabled gate with a path. I think it's gone.
But be careful, you have something that keeps the cows in.
Oh, I know, trust me.
Although 1 year we did have a cow that worked out how to get through the kissing gate to the Jubilee.
I had a cow outside my house 1 year, Paul.
We just had the disabled gates still there because of last year's remembrance.
Is it, right?
Service at the shrine, and to chap in a wheelchair, that's what we arranged for that gate to be open for them to get
Right.
into the shrine. So it's
But it's by arrangement, which isn't great.
That's not great. So,
Okay, anything else?
You put them on the
of course.
Yeah.
on the form,
Yeah.
and basically, and you've got to work through the responses.
Yeah.
Is the link on our website?
Not yet, it's on my list. It will be. I've got a few updates to make. Anything else on that?
I was going to say last night, Eileen, that it might be worth if you can send us all an email with the link, Eileen.
Yeah.
Because then we've got it at hand. And for me personally, if it's in an inbox, it will get looked at and dealt with. If it goes in here, it might just spin around for a while and then just straight back out again.
Okay, anything else on remove the barriers before I move on? No? Okay, item 12, speed indicators. To consider if the council wishes to deploy speed indicators around the parish at a cost of £85 per deployment, if agreed to suggest possible location sites. So this came about, we received an email from, I'll probably pronounce this wrong, Debbie Debracini, who's a case management officer at EBC. So she's been tasked to look after their speed indicator device, the SID programme. The next programme is currently under consultation, and she says they hope to start the programme at the end of September, depending on HCC's permissions. If we wanted to put some up, or suggest some sites, there is an £85 charge per device, and that is to cover their costs, apparently. And they will also, when the device comes down, they'll provide us with a detailed report for each device. So I believe Paul will be able to tell us, but it contains all sorts of things about speeds and things, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, those of us on the EC Local Committee, with possibly, I don't know, have you around? You've missed them. Myself, Wayne, Tina when she was on, didn't be aware of these. They are actually quite good. We've seen them around. They obviously have they show the person if they're speeding and that. Do they work? I don't know. The interesting thing is the information you get from them. That's actually, it's really helpful when you get residents that come to you and say, oh, they're always speeding down Derby Road, always speeding. Everyone speeds down Derby Road, yeah, and as Wayne said, they do 70 mile an hour. So as well as, giving a speed or smiley face or sad face, depending on which ones they're going to have, if they use the ones we used to have, they do the number, they actually do record the speed. They don't record any details and number plates and what have you. So the report you get is really quite useful because you find out that nobody ever goes down Derby Road at 70 miles an hour. They do 85.
Well, not when there's a device up anyway.
And it gives you an average speed and the number of vehicles and what have you. And more often than not, Nightingale Avenue is obviously another one that some people say people are always speeding on Nightingale Avenue.
I'm not sure how with them potholes.
I was going to, and the parked cars.
Well, speeding itself, isn't it?
And that. But actually, when you do get this information, you do realise that actually the vast majority of people are within 1 or 2 miles of the speed limit. You will always get the person who's going to speed, regardless. They see chicanes as a challenge rather than a device to slow you down and such like. So they are quite useful. And if the data from them is accurate, and generally the majority of people are travelling at the speed limit or within the speed limit, 1 or 2 miles an hour. If those signs are causing them to do that, then they are a good thing. And of course, they're mobile. You can't put them just anywhere. You can suggest anywhere, but if you're going to suggest a site, it has to be surveyed first by Hampshire County Council, because they're the highway authority, because you can't have them close to junctions, because they obviously can't cause an obstruction or a distraction. Invariably they go on lampposts, which is Hampshire County Council infrastructure, and you can't just bolt things to their lampposts and such like, and that. We never had any in any of the 20 mile an hour roads. They were only ever on 30 and 40 mile an hour roads. So we've never had them, when Eastleigh Town Committee had them, we never had them in places, well, the only 20 mile an hour zones we've got in town is around in the Chestnut Ward, Loxley Road, Sherborne through, and that. They're always on Chestnut Avenue, Derby Road, Playford Road, Woodside Avenue, Nightingale Avenue, and that. So we've never tried it on a 20 mile an hour road. Sherborne Road might be a good one to try on, 20 mile an hour. Everyone lives down there, always complains that the students are speeding, and that. But anyway, so I think it's worth doing. That.
Eileen?
Can you just add a line for me? Is that smiley face there forever?
No, as you go past, it will smile at.
No. It's the actual bit.
No, it can be moved. That's why you identify sites. It's literally bolted on to a lamppost or a sign.
How long does it stay there?
A week, 2 weeks.
Okay.
And you sort of move it around. That's why you identify different sites. Because invariably what happens, the principle of them and the thinking is if you have it there for a week, you'll notice it for a week and it'll either smile at you or have an angry face or it'll flash the speed you do, depending on which one they have. And that. After a week, you're blind to it.
So it's there for about a week.
Yeah, and then you move it somewhere else. Because in that week, you'll notice it. After a week, that's it. You're blind to it, you won't notice it.
So would it be 85? Right, I see, 85 per performance. So if we move it from one to another, that costs us another £85.
I think, with that, every time we move it, it's £85?
Don't know.
We don't know. All we know is it's an £85 deployment fee.
Yeah.
So we'd have to check.
Yeah. In which case, we wouldn't perhaps have one for 52 weeks of the year.
No.
But you run out of sites anyway if you keep,
Yeah.
and then if you keep putting it up in the same place too often, people just blasé to it.
So it sounds to me like everyone thinks it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So the borough have asked us to suggest some sites. So we did ask people at Pride on Saturday, didn't we? We got some locations. Eileen?
Sorry, I apologise. Steve did send me a message with regards to this. I hope you don't mind me mentioning it. He was saying, can we go in with Boyd Wood, maybe bring the price down?
I don't know. We'd have to ask them.
Yeah.
Paul?
Actually, if it's £85 per deployment, say you had 2 signs, because I think, did we used to have 2? Or was it 1? I don't know. Anyway, if you had 2, I mean, it would be a staggered cost because we've got more roads than they have, so it wouldn't be a 50-50. But what you could, well, if it's 80, it's still going to be £85 deployment. But the thing is, if it's not going to bring the cost down, because if it goes into Boyd, it's 85 quid. If it goes up to Nottingham Avenue, £85. If you were purchasing the unit, you could share, because then you could have 1 week in Boyd, 1 week in. Yeah, but I don't think we don't purchase the units. I don't think.
We did ask, and they did say that they don't think there's an option to purchase them at present, but they are happy to ask senior management to look into this option if we are interested. But I don't know how much they are. I've no idea.
If we actually wanted to do that, then we could just go and buy our own from wherever you get them. But then we would have to do all of the negotiating with Hampshire County Council about
and
getting
calibrating the
place.
machine as well. To
And
make sure
we'd have to
I imagine the
pay
borough
that.
have already got a list of places where they already have approval, and they can just put it up because you've already got that approval.
Yeah.
So do you want to just quickly go through the sites? Have you got a list of what was?
I've got them on the screen behind you.
remember which ones they are. Can you see?
So we had, there were quite a few suggestions actually. What's my cursor now? So we've got Southampton Road, and in particular just after it drops from 40 to 30, people tend to carry on at 40, allegedly. So that was one suggestion. Campbell Road, several people suggested Campbell Road.
It wasn't just you, Eileen, and we had a few.
Which did surprise me, actually.
Well,
'Cause-
to be quite honest, when you think about it, you've got 4 works that's in there, different companies, and they're coming over there like rockets, and they're hitting the bridge around and they're going over the side of it. And of course we do have the dual liners as well, which the kids help us, and yes.
Well, it was mentioned a few times actually.
Yeah. So those were 2 suggestions. I've got one, Stoneham Lane. Stoneham Lane, where there are now currently roundabouts, people still speed on there.
Chestnut Avenue at the
I
top.
hear them at night. That's not Chestnut Avenue, that's Lee Road.
Oh, of course it is.
So yeah, where the M3 junction is on Lee Road, people suggested
They're
there.
struggle to get one there because there's too much street furniture.
Oh, Lee.
Okay.
You can suggest it, but I think there's a struggle on that.
Yeah, that was the suggestion. And there was also a suggestion out on Bishopstoke Road near the hub.
Near the mini roundabout. I think,
Someone
wasn't
who
it? Yeah.
lives out there suggested that the speed camera that's there, which is actually further along, doesn't actually work.
They tried it obviously then.
But also it's pointing the wrong way in his opinion. So in his experience, people tend to speed going into Eastleigh across the mini roundabout. So that's where you would want to see the sign.
Toynbee, did someone say? Yeah, the
was,
school.
was there a speeding one on Toynbee?
Yeah, I think that's one of them.
There might be a speeding one on Toynbee.
Oh,
Right
wrong.
here.
Yeah, it's there. Is that Toynbee? I can't-
Yeah, there is Toynbee there.
Near the school.
Toynbee Road itself.
It was a couple of your friends that mentioned it.
Is that a speed one as well there?
That's a B.
Oh, it's a barrier, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've had this house with them as well. They've put a lot of well appreciated on residents.
So I guess we just need to present the borough with a list of roads that we would like to see, and they'll see what they can do and charge us appropriately.
Yeah.
So you've noted them down, haven't you? Has anyone got any others they'd like to add, Gavin?
Yeah, Chamberlain Road, opposite by the Norwood School, they fly up there like trackers from the junction.
Cameron, you in it?
Woodside Avenue, Wayne and I have had a lot of casework about that recently, because you can
Woodside
speed.
Avenue.
Oh
Woodside
yeah, you can
Avenue.
speed and charge lights, which isn't.
Yeah. Well, it's a dual carriageway along there.
Right.
You can get up real speed before you have to break for B&Q. Sherborne Road, the old people's bungalows, it's a 20-mile-an-hour speed restriction there.
Sherborne
And
Road.
They
potentially,
won't do it down there.
they won't do it on 20s.
What on, sorry, did you say it's a
Sherborne
20
Road.
mile an hour?
Yeah, it's 20-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Put that on.
And also Loxley Road as well.
Sure.
I thought you said they wouldn't put them on a 20 mile an hour.
No,
No,
he
they've
said
never
that they
done that.
hadn't done.
we
Oh.
hadn't done.
Oh,
We hadn't got round to it.
what road was that?
Sherborne.
Road,
Sherborne Road,
Very good.
Loxley Road,
Actually,
Loxley,
lovely.
and what was yours, Kathy? Twyford.
And Housefield Avenue.
So how many do you want to go for?
Passfield Avenue as well.
Very important.
Which one?
Passfield
Passfield.
Avenue.
That anywhere.
I've got 10
Hmm?
so far.
How many have we got there?
Do you want to add Chestnut as well?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Gareth?
We've got 10.
12.
12.
Don't think you're restricted on the number of sites. It's how many deployments you want to make.
Yeah, so how many deployments do you want to make? How many times 85 do you want to make?
Could I suggest that actually because all these sites have got to be surveyed first, and also there are some sites that EBC would already have that are already surveyed. For instance, Chestnut Avenue, Derby Road. Can't remember about Twyford Road. Might already be, but I'm not sure.
Housefield Avenue is.
Why don't we-
Twyford Road's outside of the parish.
No,
It's not.
a bit of it's in the parish.
Bit of it is, yeah.
No, be in there.
Albrook has them regularly at the top by the Harveston.
Yeah.
Twyford Road goes through 3 parishes.
Yeah, you've got from.
And there's often one there, and I've got the data for that, where if they're speeding there, the chances
Yeah.
are they're still speeding.
Yeah.
How about we present this list to them and they come back to us and say we can do this, this, this and this?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But I think what Tracy was suggesting is what would be our ceiling and what's the maximum that we want to pay, basically, which is a reasonable question.
10 deployments, so that'd be 10 cameras is 850 quid.
Snip.
That's not a huge amount of money, is it?
Should we go for that then?
10. Sounds like a lot.
Well, we might not get 10.
EBC has already got information on some of the roads already, they've already deployed some. So that number's going to be reduced, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's only the ones that.
Well, we might need to put some results.
EBC aren't doing them anymore.
But when did they do them last? Can you remember?
I haven't seen one for a while.
No.
But
The
it's
data will be there.
the data is probably
Oh,
significantly
we need to know what
boxes,
budget
but
then.
data changes.
We also need to work out which budget we're taking the money out of because we don't have a line for
Want to
it.
look?
Well, no, it's just, can we delegate that to policy and finance? Because they're not going to ask for
Oh,
money
okay,
right
yeah.
now, are they?
Does it come out of that?
I said we delegate the decision to policy and finance. We don't need to decide that now.
So we're going up to a maximum of 10 and up to a maximum of
Maximum of 10
850.
sites, I think.
Yeah. So that'd be 850 quid, knowing that they probably won't come back with most of
I'm
those.
not expecting 10 sites.
But
to
then
go
we don't
through.
have to decide again if we've already said upper limit 850.
Yeah.
There's the sites. Tell us what you can do.
Yeah.
We might have to just prioritise the sites.
Have we got someone to propose that? Paul, seconder.
Yeah.
Gavin. All those in favour? Okay, thank you. Item number 13, Remembrance Service. To agree who will be attending the Remembrance Service and laying of wreaths. So we have got there's the Armistice Service on Saturday the 11th and then the Remembrance Service on Sunday the 12th. So I'll be definitely going along to the one on the 12th. I think I'm working for the one on the 11th. Who else wants
So we've
to?
ordered 2 wreaths.
We've ordered 2 wreaths at the moment. Would anyone else like to come? I'm sure most of you are there anyway.
Did you say you can't do the 11th?
I can't do the 11th, no, I'm working for the 11th.
Sorry, where is the one on the 11th?
It'll be at the.
They're both at the...
Be at the rec again.
Oh, right, so that's on the 11th on Saturday.
They're both there, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there's one on the Saturday because that's the 11th, and then the
I
one on the
understand.
Sunday.
Yeah, the 11th will
think-
be a relatively small affair in
could do the
comparison to
11th.
Remembrance Sunday.
You can do the 11th.
Alex is happy to go to the one on the 11th on behalf of the council.
As Vice Chair, I think it's appropriate.
Would anyone else like to go with Alex? Though I'm sure you're all there.
Go to them.
Yeah.
You can just turn up. I usually
Yeah.
sometimes turn up in civvies on the 11th.
And I'll be there for the one on the 12th if everyone's happy with that. Happy for others to go out.
We will be having one at the shrine as well, like we did last year.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether, I'm not sure whether I'm going to get a shrine or whether I'm going to be at Eastleigh. I think I might be under pressure to be at the shrine again. I'd rather be going to Eastleigh, but if I'm not going to the shrine, perhaps somebody else would like to go to the shrine and lay a wreath for us.
Well, potentially I can go to the shrine because it's right next to my house.
I know.
It's very easy to get.
But they're last year.
I'm one of the ones helping to organise that one, but I'll be at the one on the 12th.
So basically, you want to lay a wreath there as well, Alan?
Yeah, we should do.
Yeah.
We've ordered 2, so
Okay.
we can do one on the Saturday and one on the Sunday.
But do we want to make another one for the shrine?
Oh, the shrine, sorry, yes.
Can we have
Yeah,
a third one then?
yeah, can we order a third one then? One more,
One more.
Yeah.
It's very important. It's
For
not
where?
standing, yeah.
for the stone and wall shrine.
Okay.
Anything else on that one? No? Okay. Eastleigh District Association. So, to agree a representative to attend Eastleigh District Association of Parish and Town Councils. So, we were contacted by HALC about this. Apparently, this association has been there for years but hasn't really done anything, and they're looking to revive it. So, they would like someone from the council to go along and be the town council's representative. I'm happy to do it unless anyone else wants to do it.
How often do they meet?
I have no idea at the moment because it hasn't been in. They haven't done it for so long. They're trying to revive it. I think the idea is that all the parish councils in the borough get together and have a chat every now and then. And, yeah.
Well, happy for you to go at least initially.
Hmm.
Find out some more details.
Okay.
Do you want a deputy in case it clashes with your
Yeah.
shifts?
Anyone want to be a deputy just in case I can't make it?
Would you want to deputise as vice chair?
Alex is happy to.
Yeah.
So I'll propose then. I'm the what do they call it? The representative. Sorry. Alex will be the stand-in effectively. Anyone want to second that?
Yeah.
All those in favour? Thank you. And I'll report back. Item 15, Junction Church. To consider correspondence from Junction Church requesting a letter of support from the council towards the purchase of the Eastleigh Railway Institute. Did everybody see this that went out?
Yeah.
Has anyone got any comments?
Where are they getting their money from? You know?
I don't know.
Community.
They're applying for a grant, I believe, to cover some of the costs. The email did say September, but I got this email back in July after our last meeting. And I contacted Dan and he said it's been delayed slightly and they are submitting their funding request in October now. So we do have time if council would like to, or like me to write a letter on behalf. Paul?
It's actually coming from the government's community membership fund, is where they're seeking. They've been asked to make a full application. I see no reason why we couldn't support their application. That's what they're asking for. That's my personal view. It'd be a different story if they were asking for money. The question is does the parish, or sorry, yeah, well, it is a parish, it's a town council. I suppose the question is because it's a church, is that something that the town council should or should not either endorse or not endorse? I don't know. I don't really have a view on it really. At the end of the day, it's something that I've known about for a while, potential of the Railway Institute folding and being no more. It would be quite good. It would be very good if somebody could take it on as a community asset. And if that is a church, then that's a church. And good luck to them. So I see no reason why we couldn't give a letter of support that we're happy with them to proceed with their application.
Okay, Tina, you were next.
I was just going to say, I don't think it's a problem us sort of supporting it, and I certainly would personally support what they're doing. And the Junction Church is behind the EC Basic Bank, which is obviously your chosen charity or whatever the terminology is. So I think it would be a bit strange if we didn't support them. And I think what they've outlined, it's clearly focused on providing resource for the community. That's what we're all about. So
Absolutely.
I definitely would support it personally.
Me too. Kathy?
Yeah, I did look up their accounts just to make sure they'd sent some in. And the company is actually called Junction 13 Eastleigh, according to the charity number that they put down there. Their income for 23 was £145,790 and expenditure was £126,000. So they don't have very much money in profit. I do wonder if they're taking it over how much it's going to cost them, and then will they come cap in hand to us again?
I
I mean, support them, yeah, fine, I'm for that. But if you've only got, 20,000 a year, and the railway club's holding, and I assume they took more than £20,000 a year, and who actually owns them? I thought that National Network Rail, owned part of it, and the members only own something like 27%.
I'm not sure, but that's for the church to sort out if they're looking to purchase
No, I was just asking you, because there's
Don't know for sure.
some suggestion that Eastleigh Town Council owns the land, but no, I only have concerns that with that limited income they've got, that they'll be able to keep it going, and then will they keep running towards the money? I'm not going to say no, I know,
But in terms of what they've asked for, it seems like...
Fine, I just think it might not be quite as rosy as
I do have that fear as well.
making it look.
Yeah.
But no, letter support isn't going to hurt us, is it?
No.
No.
Everyone happy then for me to write that letter?
Yeah.
Support. Okay. Thank you. Item number 16, business continuity plan. I always struggle with that word. To receive and agree the business plan. Alex, can you bring it up? So me and Tracy had worked on this. Eileen's had a look as well, because I know this was something Eileen was very keen for us to do, which I was in full agreement with. Does anyone want to say anything about it? Have we missed anything? We looked at some others to try and make sure we had everything that we could think of in there at this stage. Tina?
So, because I know obviously I was very keen to get this up and running. So this is for sort of now.
Yeah.
So reading this sort of just prompted me to sort of think, oh right, okay, what is the situation? So it talked about paper copies of things.
Yeah.
We obviously don't have a building, so paper copies at the moment, where are they currently stored?
At my house.
At your house, okay. And again, when it talked about data being regularly backed up locally to sort of memory sticks, and those were stored securely, and I was thinking, well, where is that?
All our data at the minute is backed up by Cloudy.
Yeah, well, but we say in here that it's going to be on memory sticks.
To be honest, I've probably
I'm
just...
just sort of asking the question, well, where actually are those memory sticks going to be stored, and how, no disrespect to you, Tracy, but, how sort of, I'm sure your house isn't Fort Knox, sort of thing, how secure is that? So just asking the questions. And then, when it, sorry, I haven't got the document up, but it says a bit later on, not very nice thought, but loss of staff. And it talks about the actions. I think loss of staff, we have two lots, but it was the first one.
Next one.
No, God, again, maybe death. Yeah, that one. And I know it's a very nice thing to sort of think about, but just as a practical thing, and God forbid, sorry, Grace, something happened to our clerk sort of now, and everything is stored, or a lot of things are stored at, Tracy's home. A horrible but very necessary action that would need to be done there would be to actually recover files and stuff, whatever. So I was just thinking we need to actually identify that. I know in time it would be different because it's in our own building, but actually if it is stored off-site in someone's home, then that is an action that would obviously need to happen, and we haven't sort of detailed.
That's a very good point.
Those are just things that occurred to me.
Eileen?
Basically, all we need is an emergency pack where Gaz, as chair, would have a sealed envelope covering this point, and basically we'll have all the data in there just for this time here. So it's just an emergency pack, a sealed envelope with all the passwords and all the contact details of where to find things.
Where does he keep that?
Gaz would have it.
In his house?
Yes, in his house.
So so again, the question is, where does he keep it?
It's difficult when we don't have a building, isn't it?
Yeah. Because potentially if your house gets broken into and someone has this lovely bag which gives them all the passwords.
Have you seen his dogs? You can put a saddle on one of them.
I'm just
No, it's a good point,
asking
yeah,
questions.
it is.
Yeah, I think Tim's got a really valid point. It's not about whether, well, I suppose part of it is about if they're at risk of theft, but it's more about if there's risk of fire, and then you'll lose that one copy of the documents. So if we're going to have hard copies of anything, there should be 2 copies in 2 different buildings. Similarly, if we're going to have USB backups of the cloud stuff, there should be 2 copies in 2 different buildings, because the chances of 2 different buildings burning down at the same time is very, very small. Unless they're next door to each other. But they're next door to each other. Okay. The other thing I was going to say was if we make sure that all documents, including the paper ones, have been scanned and stored on SharePoint, which is backed up by Cloudy, then all of that data is in one place. And then all that recovery bit needs is the password to access it.
That's a good idea.
And basically, that's how other parish councils actually work. I phoned around at the very beginning when I first was concerned about it, and that's what they do, is that they brown envelope
Yeah.
and basically seal, and it's passed to the chair.
Nuclear football.
Right, so we need to add these bits into this then, don't we?
I suppose potentially the other, just a fun thought, I know this is increasingly difficult nowadays, but the other potential option is depositing that brown envelope with a bank or a solicitor
Yeah, that's true.
who will then store it in a strong room, and then if we've got the correct information to get hold of it, we can get it. I wonder if solicitor would actually make more sense, because we actually have a solicitor that's functioning with the town council.
Well, the banks will be opening more than solicitors.
Yeah, but they're closing down.
They're
the
closing.
Yeah,
I'm
find out
interested in
how much-
changing our passwords regularly, aren't we? It's see, in today's day and age, everything's on cloud base, and then we're being encouraged then to change our passwords regularly. So you wouldn't keep going to the bank and changing that, would you? But I said, that there must be
They charge
another
you
one.
every time you would go. They charge you for the storage and then probably charge you every time you go.
Yeah,
Same as
probably.
the solicitor would to open
I mean, there are more secure ways of dealing with issues.
Can I do a bit of investigation and see what other councils do?
Sure.
So-
And buy Tracy a small safe or something.
Then someone's got another combination to the safe.
I mean, I'm hoping that they're in a safe at the moment.
That's what
Where do you store the documents at home?
the documents.
It's
What?
the paper
My paper
documents.
one.
Yeah,
In a file, in my conservatory, in a bookcase.
in a bookcase. Oh, okay.
It's in a
Not
bookcase,
not
yeah.
in
It's
a
all-
fireproof
I've
filing
got my
cabinet.
own area that is all there. 80% of clerks around the country have that, work from home.
Are they in a fireproof box, just in case you have a fire at home?
It's not in a fireproof box, no.
No?
Have you got
All
a
our
fireproof
minutes
box at
are...
home?
Sorry?
Have you got a fireproof box at home?
I have.
Important documents for.
So we need
Get
to
my passport.
we need to add some things to this policy then, don't we, by the sounds of things?
Yeah, a little bit.
Right, so we're going to have to go away, work on that and bring it back.
Well, I think
Or can we delegate that to policy and finance?
How about we adopt it as it is, so that we have something, and then we can update
You can
it.
amend it.
Yeah.
because basically we need to start working on it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they've been delayed for another 2
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
Then it's
Yeah. Adopt it as it is with the caveat.
To be tweaked.
Yeah.
Amendments pending.
Okay, have we got a proposal for that? Paul, seconder. Eileen. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 17, exclusion of press and public, to resolve to exclude the press and public due to the confidential nature of the business about to be transacted, yes. Right, let me pause the recording. Okay, item 20, date of the next meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for 22nd of November 2023. Thank you, that's the meeting closed at 8:56.